All right, Joshcast. Time for another Joshcast. Another Joshcast. But does anyone care? I'm looking at the stats, and I notice that occasionally there's one or two people, it says, according to the stats, that are listening to this from other countries like Sweden or England or that kind of thing. And to those people, I say, oh, I'm sorry. That's all I can say as an American. I'm sorry. I know. That's what I want to say to you. I know. I hear you. I'm right there with you. I don't want to get political, but it must be said. Here's what I'm struggling with when it comes to depression. Well, namely, I'm struggling from depression. There we go. But what I'm worried about is if I keep saying I'm depressed, am I depressed because just that's who I am, or am I depressed because I keep saying I'm depressed and I am creating the depression? And that if I change the narrative in my mind and in my outlook, that perhaps I can cause the depression to shift and I won't be depressed. But the problem is, whatever narrative I try to change to, I just don't want to be that person. I see the world as a gift. Oh, get out of my face. So now I'm beginning to think that maybe there is a part of me that is choosing to remain depressed. And I gotta tell you, it seems for me like the best option. I hate to say it. What I don't want to do is I don't want to pretend that I'm not depressed. Yeah, for me, the only way out of depression, there's no way out of it. I think that's the first thing I've learned, is that I just have to accept it and stay in it. But the temptation is that it makes me lethargic and I don't want to do anything. And so the compromise I've made with myself is, well, I'm just going to take the actions I would take if I were not depressed and allow the depression to just be there. And when I start to do that and I become really ingrained in the actions that I'm taking, then I find that I no longer feel depressed because I'm too busy feeling panic and anxiety. So see, it works out perfectly. It's a beautiful balance of yin and additional yin. Is that fair? Which yin and yang? I don't know which is the. I think one of them is the more aggressive masculine and the other one is the more feminine. Is that what it is? I don't know. It's just another concept that we Westerners have failed to interpret properly. It's very foggy this morning. Fog in North Hollywood. Now that's interesting. I can barely see the 15,000 equity waiver theaters. I drive by this intersection where there lives just this giant flock of pigeons. I feel for the pigeons. I think the pigeons are a maligned bird. They're the butt of the jokes. They're not sexy, so I can relate to the pigeons. They're not ethereal and majestic like some of the other birds we worship. They're not like the bald eagle. Although the irony is, I think both of them are scavengers. If there was a bagel on the street, and there was a bald eagle and a pigeon, they'd both go for it. The eagle would probably win. I believe it is a larger bird. But I can relate to the pigeons. I went to a restaurant last night, was having a late night snack. I thought I'm going to be healthy, so I just asked for some smoked salmon and gluten-free bread. That's my life now. Smoked salmon, gluten-free bread. That's the kind of jet-setting lifestyle that I'm living. With every passing day, I am transforming into the old Jew I always knew I could be. It's a beautiful, beautiful butterfly. That's what the cocoon of youth is falling away, and what is emerging? The butterfly of the old Jew, who comes out of his cocoon, flies around, and says after a few minutes, enough of the flying already. So I'm sitting there eating my smoked salmon and my gluten-free bread, and I notice there's some cream cheese on the side. And I say, hello, cream cheese. I really can't digest you. I appreciate your existence, but I'm probably not going to partake. Then a couple of minutes pass, and I'm tasting this gluten-free bread, and the gluten-free bread is saying to me, hey, this isn't going well. If you get hit by a bus tomorrow, is this the last thing you want? There's some cream cheese right over there, You don't have to put on much. It'll spice it up a little bit. I said, no, I'm trying to watch my cholesterol, and cheese is high in cholesterol. The bread said, is there going to be an ozone layer in 10 years? We don't know. So I said, okay, fine. Then I had some cream cheese, and for a brief moment, I was in bliss. It was wonderful. And then I had a giant guava-filled Pop Tart. My whole plan was to avoid a late-night dessert snack, and I failed. I ate my lox and my gluten-free bread and my cream cheese, and there were some capers as well. Too much salt, probably. And I was almost out of there. I was almost scot-free. And then I had a giant, homemade, guava-filled Pop Tart. And it was beautiful. There was a gentleman who was sitting next to me at this establishment. And I could hear him chewing. It was that. I wanted to kill him. But I don't do that because we live in modern civilized times, and we don't kill people because they eat loudly. Instead, we bottle up those feelings and try to stuff them down with guava-filled Pop Tarts. There are certain people, I've talked about this before, I will talk about this again. There are certain people, when I'm at a coffee shop, who they're not saying anything, they're not doing anything. They're just, eating, minding their own business, but somehow they are still annoying. It's like there's this energy that they exude. I don't know what it is. But it's just, it's this. I can feel their neuroses. I can feel it. I don't dare make eye contact because they're usually the kind of person who will start talking to me for an hour. And I know this is a horrible thing to admit, but I can feel the annoyance. And my fear is that I am becoming one of those people. Now, the reality is I'm the one with the problem, and that I'm somehow neurotic and oversensitive. But I really try to sense if I'm around someone else who just doesn't want to be bothered, I really try not to bother them. And that right there, next to the fact that I drive a Honda, I would argue, is the sexiest thing about me. I don't bother you. That is what is sexy. Like a pin-up picture of me is, I'm not even in the room. It's just an empty room. And you look at that and go, that's great. He's not even there. There was some debris in the road. Surprising. I'm entering Burbank now, and they're usually very good about keeping the roads and everything clean. It's fascinating, but the transition from North Hollywood to Burbank, there was an episode of South Park where they drive from over the border of Nebraska to Colorado, and literally the sky is a different color. The grass and everything else is a different color. That is what it feels like to transition from North Hollywood to Burbank. Just as soon as I hit Burbank, the streets are clean, and there's these beautiful trees that have been here for 100 years, and it's like a whole different. It's like I'm in the Back to the Future town. And I gotta say, the more I live in North Hollywood, the more I'm starting to appreciate it. I like living in cities where, you know what, things aren't going 100%. And then we're not going to hide it. North Hollywood, yeah, we know we've got some problems. Yeah, we know. North Hollywood. Yeah, we know. But it's odd, because it feels more honest to me than cities where everything is clean and shiny. I just don't trust it. And now that I'm thinking about it, the place I really don't trust, Disneyland. It's too perfect. I feel like if I were to pull off the leaves of one of those perfectly shaped shrubs, I think inside that shrub is a frightened dwarf who has been told to stand there and be the perfect shrub. That's my, it's happy, but he's not happy. Now, maybe I'm just being paranoid. Definitely I'm just being paranoid. Worried about my mom. That thought just came to my mom. Well, I'm working on this joke, to be honest with you. So that's what came to my mind. But it turns out that my mom can no longer drive. And the reason is because she has bad arthritis in her neck. She can't turn her neck anymore. And I do not see why this is a problem with driving. Batman's fine. He can't turn his neck either. I mean, and half the time he's driving a car that has blind spots. Even if he could turn his neck, he couldn't see anything. All I'm saying is we need to get my mom a Batmobile, and I think everything will be fine. If she's worried about making a right turn or a left turn, she'll just shoot out the little grappling hook. It'll fasten itself on a lamppost, and then she can easily make that turn. The things that Batman could do in the Tim Burton Batman movie are not possible. He could do things with that grappling gun that no normal person could do. Like, for instance, shoot the grappling gun while falling off of a building onto the roof of the building and save himself from falling. That, I think that'd be pretty hard. Pretty hard to accomplish, I would imagine. I would imagine it would end with him on the ground and the grappling gun a few feet away. And somebody saying, "What's that thing that's over there?" "Oh, it's his grappling gun." "Does that even work?" "Nope, no it doesn't." Okay. This man had emotional problems. Good to know. Well, I've arrived at my destination. Ain't that something?